Well, here we are at the Looking Glass Rock Trailhead. There's really a lot to like about this trail. For one thing, I'll give you a look at the parking lot here. There's only one other vehicle here. There's mine. And I'm pretty sure that whoever's truck that is, probably not going to stay. It is 1.5 miles to the top, and also coincidentally 1.5 miles back to the bottom. It's an up and back. There's no loop possible unless you're a very skilled rock climber. We'll take a look at some pictures later and see what the other side of Looking Glass Rock looks like. But essentially this part of the trail is going to go kind of what they describe it as is climbing up the back of a whale. So the rock itself carries up a nice long gentle slope, 1.5 miles, and then drops off very suddenly on the other side, which is something that we'll be taking a look at from the top, and then we'll see some views of that famous rock face from the other side of the parkway. It's about 4 o'clock right now. You can see the sun's about to go down behind me, so let's get walking. Looking Glass Rock is a geological feature known as a pluton. That is a bubble of volcanic rock that rose above the earth and solidified into a round bubble shape. One thing not to like, although it's a small one, is that just a few steps past the parking lot, this little stream behind me, this is the last water I'm going to see. So that means I have to carry all of my water with me. Pack's a little heavier than it usually is. You can't see it, but I can. Right over there is the face of something called John's Rock, which is also a pluton. We'll see that much better once we get up to the top. So the first 3/4 of a mile maybe of the Looking Glass Rock Trail is like, you know, pretty much any typical North Carolina trail. It's about a 5% grade, pretty steady the whole way, wide, flat, sometimes muddy, the occasional root, the occasional rock, but very easily walkable. That's the first 3/4 of a mile. Here's where we're headed. Right there, the trail switches back, and we begin climbing the back of the whale. So we'll walk along that ridge for a while until we get to the top, and it actually zigzags back a little bit more. Our direction of travel is actually that way, but you'll see the conditions of the trail change drastically here in a second. Well, a second for you, a little longer for me. The trail turns into this, pretty much just exposed rock, and very shortly it's going to become very uneven and steep. We are almost at the top. Thank you to whoever did that. That's a lot of work. Maybe about 1/4 of a mile from the summit, and we come upon a feature that you don't see on very many hikes. Oh, that sun. A helipad. So there's a big H on the ground there, and this is where we evacuate climbers. Technically, that is the summit, so we'll go up there in a few minutes. Still got about a half an hour before the sun goes down, and this is my campsite for the night. You can see I've got a nice view of the sunset, and once I come through this little trail here, you're gonna see it in just a second, so I can get the sun out of the view. Oh, now you're dizzy, aren't you? Okay, we've got ourselves a little... Ooh, somebody loves me. Look at this. Yes, sir. I was thinking about not having a fire tonight. Definitely having a fire tonight. All right, 30 minutes to set up camp. Here we go. Just over 20 minutes. That includes laying down the guy lines. And about a 5-minute walk past the campsite, we come to the exposed rock face of Looking Glass Rock. just in time for sunset. Well, it's the morning of day 2, and sure enough, the weather forecast was correct. We had temperatures in the low 20s last night, and it was definitely blustery. Interestingly enough, I could hear the wind, but not actually feel it at my campsite. I'm standing right now on the face of Looking Glass Rock, and you can probably see here behind me, I'll just get out of the way. What we see here is the Blue Ridge Parkway, and these are the Blue Ridge Mountains. So what I really wanted to do, and what I usually do in the summertime, is I can walk all around this rock face. I can even walk out to that tree we see right there. But you'll notice that there's a lot of shiny spots on the rock this morning. That's not water, that's ice. So I found myself a nice dry path to get to where I'm standing. I'm not going much farther. It looks like I'm in a dangerous spot. I'm not. The real danger is just a little bit further that way. You can see how it drops off very suddenly there. That's about 900 feet, and it's about 80-degree slope here. Maybe 100 feet later it goes to complete drop-off. People do climb up here from the bottom, but the area is closed between January and August for peregrine falcon nesting. Isn't that nice? So this is a lovely spot to have my breakfast. Well, this is a nice surprise. I started walking down a short little trail that left from the side of my campsite, thinking that it was just going to be a pee trail. You know, I didn't have to pee, I was just doing some exploring. You can see the trail a little bit there behind me, and this is kind of nice. It turns out that it leads to a little sitting spot that has a view of John's Rock. I'm especially excited about that because I wasn't able to get to John's Rock from the face of Looking Glass because of all the ice. So we're going to step over here and take a look at it. This is our sitting spot. We're going out onto that. And that's about as far out onto this as I dare venture. But tell me, shouldn't every campsite have one of these? Well, that's John's Rock. Occasionally, you'll encounter a blue blaze on this trail. That doesn't mean there's another trail off to the side, but in this case, it means that there's an overlook, or something with a view. Here's one that I'm standing on now, and looks out into the valley. It's very lovely. I'm going to zoom in here in the distance. Maybe we can see the rime ice up there. Those are the Blue Ridge Mountains. You get some rime ice. And then, let's see, how can I get this in frame? Just to the right of this tree, where my finger is, you just barely see the tip of Mount Pisgah from here. Well, I can see it. Anyway, lovely view, blue blazes. As much as I love doing this, there's just always something special about that first glimpse of the parking lot. Thanks for hiking with me.